So the technique of the shimmery vowel synth is get a vocal sample or any sound and whack a whack an EQ on it, and then a gate, and make sure. Sorry, I'm just rushing this. I'm fucking it. Let me start again.
Yeah. Calm down.
Okay. Okay. So EQ, a reverb. Make sure the reverb isn't too high up. Actually, no. Yes. And then throw a gate on it. So it's like really pulsating. Sounds bad. And then a distortion, and then another reverb.
Cool.
People should loop that, and then another EQ at the bottom. And basically, it sounds really bad, but the second EQ that's below the distortion and gate, you can automate that. So that should be low, and you kind of automate that, and it can make it like go from a really tight gate kind of shimmery synth into this like big like kind of space, and then suck it back in, and it's like really, it's like a distorted synth basically, because the reverb going into the distortion and gate smothers the sound, so it goes from like what would be like a song into just a single sound that's kind of like, you know what I mean? So yeah, like in my song Cold, it's literally just the chorus of the song ran through that kind of chain. It sounds like a thick, like super saw type synth.
Okay.
So
let me just write this down. I'm just going to try and remember to put that in the YouTube. I'll try and link to Cold in the YouTube thing. So let's see, 146. Cool. So can you tell us what the purpose of the first EQ is? What are we doing with that first EQ in the chain?
So that would be, and also I'll probably send you a message after this podcast just so you can actually have the order of things, so it's not so butchered.
Cool.
It's so a pretty basic EQ of just like high passing a bunch of the low end crap that to give room for your like bass and drums and stuff, and then just like softening just a little bit of the highs and stuff, so you can really get the crazy distortion and reverb really like high pitched going into the gate. And then so after the gate you have that extra reverb which is fully turned down, but then you automate it and you can make it swell in and out to make big kind of like big like atmospheric synth sounds and tighten it in. You don't have to do that, but and then the final EQ is just to clean it up, so you'd take a fair bit of the high out because obviously you're distorting reverb which sounds pretty mental.
That's great. So when you say the second reverb is totally turned down, you mean the wet dry mix is on dry, and then you're turning it wet to do these big like almost delay throw almost style things?
Fully. So it's like the reverb on that one is like pretty ramped up, like it's super like the like mix, the depth, the decay time. Like I'll have my decay time on like 11 or something stupid, and then it's the full wet dry that you're automating. So it's just like coming in and out.
And then it is you said the distortion or saturation between the first and second reverb, is that correct, or is it after the second reverb?
So the order, I'll just say the order again because I don't know if I fucked it. The order is EQ, EQ, the first reverb, which you can kind of customize. That's like completely up to you. Like the more reverb you do, the more of a washed out synth it'll be.
Okay.
And the less it'll be more clear. So it's EQ, reverb, and then you have your distortion. So you're distorting the reverb and all that, and then that goes into the gate, which makes it way tighter. Right. So it goes from like this big like mess into like
Right. You can control the chaos. So what type of distortion is this? Like a really distorted, really saturated, overdrive? Yeah. What is it? Yeah.
It's like a razor distortion, like super sharp. Cool. So yeah, like a blood overdrive or something, or overdrive would really work. Probably FabFilter Satin would work too. Your stock distortion would probably work. Okay. And then after the gate, it's just you have that the wet dry reverb, which is huge, which you can automate, and then a final EQ just to clean it up however you want.
That's cool.
But that's I've used that technique a bunch of times, and the first time I used it was in Headlock, and that was just like a result that I'd never heard before, and I was like, this is fucking crazy. I thought it was like such a fluke. And I loved it.
I think I know the sound you're talking about in your tracks, and if it's the one I'm thinking of, it reminded me of the Blade Runner soundtrack. Are you a fan of Blade Runner at all?
I haven't actually seen it, but I feel like I've heard the soundtrack quite a bit. It sounds epic.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. It's got that space texture, that futuristic space texture.
That's sick.
Which is cool. Yeah. Awesome, dude. That's great. I love that. And I really like it going back through. The first time it was a little confusing, and then after you went back and walked us through it, I think it makes sense to me what's going on. And people can try that at home. And like you say, you don't have to do it exactly the same way you do. Like, part of the fun is setting stuff up the wrong way and running into mistakes anyway, right?
For sure. And I definitely want to add on to that is you can do it with anything. So a chord progression or something you've made, or you can just sample your favorite song or any song. And if you can just get it in time with your gate, it'll sound crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I use it for on any sample, and it will sound really crazy. It's mainly for kind of big drops and stuff, or a big climax point, but you could definitely use it in more subtle ways. I've used it for ad libs in certain songs and stuff, and it sounds really cool.
Do you have a method to, maybe we talked about this before, but I don't think we did. Do you think of song structure when you're writing a song, or is it all just, you're just throwing paint at the wall? Do you think in terms of structural blocks?
Yeah. It's only intuitive when it doesn't work, I would say. My song structures, usually I have a pretty good idea of how I'm going to block things out, but then when it doesn't work, that's when it's no man's land and it just weasels its way through.
Right. It's cool.